Study others and study yourself. This sounds very simple, but it's actually tough. But it's something that you have to master, both about other people and yourself, most especially yourself. Let me explain why. You see, in our contemporary culture, we are catered to. Businesses want to sell us products. Everything is trying to get you to buy something new. It's a consumer society, right? It's based on consumption, on getting stuff, acquiring stuff. And any problem that you lack in your life, well, you acquire something in order to fix that problem, fix that hole that you might have, right? It could be, buying a new car or buying a new toy, or maybe it could be buying some pills to make you feel better. But you see my point. Everything is about acquiring something to fulfill a need that you have. And so quite naturally what happens is that most people, they rarely study themselves. They are simply reacting to the stimuli around them. They like this, they don't like that. They like this, they don't like that. And like that, okay? But they don't look into their hearts and look into themselves and look into other people to figure them out. But this great flaw of our society can become a great strength for you. I mean, after all, the one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind, right? And here we are talking about a social blindness. Everybody is blind to the issue of who they are and what drives them. What's the tick-tock that makes people do what they do? Yeah, because when I say study yourself, study others, right? What I'm talking about is figuring out what motivates yourself and motivates other people, okay? And a lot of times, figuring out what motivates you is actually exceedingly difficult, yeah? Because you are not able to step outside of yourself and objectively look on yourself and figure yourself out. I mean, but it's much easier to look on other people and figure them out, right? If you look at somebody, you look at their behavior, and you study them for a while, it's often is not quite simple, just an easy thing to figure out what drives them. And once you know what drives them, you can figure out how to maneuver them to get what you want. You see? And that's why this is so important. Because never forget, we are social animals. And because of the technologically advanced civilization that we are lucky enough to enjoy, now our problems have nothing to do with natural disasters or predators or any shit like that. What is important now is figuring out other people. Other people determine our happiness or unhappiness, as the case may be, right? Other people will determine whether we have a successful life or not. It's not going to be the fucking cheetah, that might come and eat us, because there's no fucking cheetah, yeah. And the hurricane, well, don't worry about the fucking hurricane, because the National Weather Center or whatever the fuck is gonna warn you weeks in advance if a hurricane is coming, and you'll be able to either leave or batten down the hatches or whatever the fuck is necessary. So nature is not the enemy. Nature is not the competition. It's other people. Other people are the enemy. Other people are the allies. Other people are the environment in which you move in. And that's why you have to study them. There are two things that you want to figure out about other people: what they want and what they fear. Carrot and the stick. It couldn't be easier. Carrot, what drives somebody forward. Stick, what they're running from. Simple as that. What they want, what they fear. The carrot and the stick. What they want is not always obvious, okay? A lot of times, especially with more inconsequential people, they are going to have no idea what they want out of life. They're just going to be randomly bumping along, okay? They won't have any kind of clear goal, clear mountaintop, okay? And those people, paradoxically, they're hard to figure out. But once you figured out that they're just bumbling along, then it becomes actually very easy. Because see, when you come across somebody who's just stumbling along and they don't have any clear carrot and they're just going here, they're going there, they don't have a clear through line, right? Well, then at first you're going to be sort of like taken aback because of course you don't know that they're just stumbling about, right? Because most people that you see on the street, you figure that they know more or less what the fuck they're doing, although they don't. But you meet somebody and you figure at first, you assume that they have things pretty clear cut and they know where they're going, right? But then they start doing things that are contradictory. And at first, you're going to think that they're playing some sort of like 4D chess or some shit like that, right? But then eventually you'll realize that they're not playing any kind of game or anything like that. They're not all Machiavellian and shit. No, what's happening is that they have no fucking idea what they're doing. They're just bumbling along. And once you realize that, then it's easy. Then it's easy to maneuver such people. You just show them a shiny trinket, something that makes a little bit of noise and a little bit of sparkle. Yeah. Oh, here, look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh, look how it goes over there. You see, and follow it, and they will. That's the beauty of it. These people who don't know what the fuck they're doing in life, right? They will randomly follow anything that, yeah. And so what your job is to do with such people is to make the thing the shiniest, sparkliest, the thing that captures their attention. Once you capture their attention, they'll go wherever the fuck you want. Yeah, simple as that. Now, insofar as what people fear, that's really interesting. What's been my experience is that most of the time people try to hide very diligently that thing that they fear. They don't want other people to know that they fear X, Y, or Z, right? They try very, very hard to do so. And the weird thing is that the harder they try to hide what they truly fear, the more obvious it is. Yeah. They're afraid of being poor, right? And so their desire for money becomes quite obvious. They're afraid of being unpopular and laughed at. Oof, then you see that their opinions, follow the mainstream like instantly, And it's really fucking funny. Most people, the vast majority of people, are horrible at hiding what they are afraid of. Of course, you don't realize this on first meeting them. You got to get to know them a little bit. But once you get to know them, and once you start looking to see what they are afraid of, trying to figure out what they are afraid of, then it's just so fucking easy. Let me give you a clear and simple example. There is a man named Mr. Medicare. He's an online personality. He used to be on YouTube. Now he's on DLive or some shit like that. It doesn't really matter, right? Very talented guy. Very, very smart guy. Yeah. I mean, one of the smartest people I've met online. Yeah. I'm not kidding around. Not at all. And actually, now that I think about it, I think that he is the only guy with more IQ points, just raw IQ points, than him would be Distributus. But Distributus is socially retarded, so, he doesn't count. But Mr. Medicare, he's not socially retarded. He is really fucking smart. And he is really fucking funny. Oh yeah, he is so fucking funny. He is just screamingly funny. And his videos, man, they're fucking famous. They are the funniest goddamn video, right? But you start looking at him and you start, analyzing him a little bit, yeah? And the thing that he's afraid of, right, is so obvious. It's so fucking obvious that I'm surprised that all the people who have psychoanalyzed him online, and there are legions of people who have psychoanalyzed him, well, it's surprising that none of them have lit on the obvious answer. You see, Mr. Medicare is terrified of being laughed at. Yeah. That's what he's hiding. Yeah, because he's the comedian who tries to mock other people and laugh at other people first before anybody mocks him. Yeah? And see, his humor, his whole thing, his whole shtick, his anonymity and his mocking of other people is all designed to do two things. Number one, mock others before they have a chance to mock him. And his anonymity and his scrupulousness, insofar as his anonymity is concerned, is to make sure that there are no vectors of attack against him. See? Because he's terrified of being mocked. He's terrified of being laughed at. And because he's so terrified of being laughed at, he always limits himself. Because what happens is, of course, is that as you raise your profile in any milieu, people begin to mock you. They usually mock you out of envy. They mock you out of envy and resentment that that guy is rising and they are not, And so they start mocking the guy who's rising, right? And it took me the longest time to figure this out because, Medicare is a very shrewd customer. But that's his thing. He's terrified of being mocked. And so he stays low, like under the radar. And he excuses himself, he explains that he's not like trying to become big on YouTube or anywhere else because, he prefers to be underground and stuff like that. Bullshit. That's not the reason at all. It's because he's afraid of raising his profile, because once he raises his profile, he will be exposed to mockery. Mockery by people who might actually hit on things that make him feel nervous, make him feel uncomfortable, hit on his weak spots. You see? Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. That's the thing he fears. And see, once you understand this is the thing that he fears, then you understand everything about Medicare. Why he's so aggressively humorous and cutting to people. The second he spots any kind of weakness, he goes for them. And it explains why he gets up, he rises up, because he's naturally very, very talented and very, very smart. He rises, but then he doesn't take that step up. He doesn't take a step up to the big leagues. You know, this guy, Medicare, he could be bigger than iDubbbz. Absolutely. But he's scared. He's scared because if he takes that step up to be a big name on the online community, to have a channel with 1 million, 2 million, 5 million subscribers, right? To be like the big name, then it would expose him to mockery. And he's terrified of that. He's so afraid of that. And he tries to hide it with the very thing that he's afraid of receiving, which is mockery. You see? I don't mean to pick on Medicare. I mean, I like him, you know. I haven't talked to him in quite a while. I doubt I ever will again, you know, because he's small time. Yeah, he's small time because his fear limits him. Yeah? And that's the thing that you have to study about other people. You got to study what they're afraid of, because most often than not, that thing that they are afraid of is the thing that will limit them. It's not merely that the thing that they are afraid of is the thing that you can use to control them. Actually, that's not the case. See, you know, you cannot control other people by way of wielding the thing that they're afraid of. No, you can't. Yeah, you just make them resentful when you do that. No. The way to control people is to flash the thing that they want. It's much easier to get somebody to chase after something that they want than to flee from something they're afraid of in the direction you want them to go. You see what I'm saying? I mean, like, you hit a donkey with a stick, and the donkey might go there, it might go there, it might even go back at you, right? But if you wave a carrot at the donkey and start walking in the direction you want to go, the donkey's gonna follow you. You see what I'm saying? Okay, that's all good and fine about other people, right? But what about yourself? Oof, that is a tough one. That is a real fucking tough one. Because studying yourself, figuring yourself out, it's fucking difficult, okay? I'm 51 years old. There are a lot of things that I discover about myself that have been in my heart and in my personality all of my life. And only now at 51, I discover like this thing, this X thing or Y thing or whatever the fuck. You see what I'm saying? I mean, like, there are a lot of things that I learned about myself when I was young, when I was like, I don't know, in my teenage years. There are other things I learned when I was in my 20s, other things I learned about in my 30s and 40s and so on. But you never stop learning about yourself, or more to the point, if you're wise enough to keep growing as a man, you always learn new things about yourself. If you ever get to the point of saying to yourself, oh, I know everything there is to know about myself, then you're stuck. You're in stasis. You're not growing. You're not developing. And that's not where you want to be. You always want to be developing, always want to be growing. Growing, and of course, don't get autistic on me, not in the sense of physically growing, spiritually growing, mentally growing. And there are a lot of things that I've learned about myself, you know, things I learned when I was 40 about myself that I had no idea, things I learned about myself when I was 45 that, again, I had no idea, and things that now at 51, I learn about myself and I'm like, holy shit. Offhand, I can't think of one recently, but you do, and it's kind of weird because a lot of times, you know, you'll come across something that you do, some attitude that you have, some belief or this, that, the other, doesn't matter, and you'll say to yourself, wow, I've been thinking about this my whole fucking life without ever having stopping to consider it and thought about it and realized why I was thinking this way or doing this thing or what have you. Yeah. It's always a little bit of a shock, and it's always a little bit of a disappointment to realize how fucking stupid you are. And to think to yourself, oh, I'm so fucking smart, and then you realize, hey, I've gone half a century, and only now have I realized this really crucial fact about myself. So I wasn't so fucking smart, now was I? To tell you the truth, and this is a parenthesis about me, that's one of the things I love about YouTube and doing this online shit, because I learn so much about myself, yeah? And that's the beauty of it. You learn so much about yourself, and once you learn these things about yourself, you are able to keep yourself from being manipulated and controlled by other people. You achieve true freedom. That's why it's so important. See, it's not an end in itself. It's not an end in itself to figure other people out and then figure out yourself. No. It's so that you can have true freedom and not be controlled by other people. It's all good and fine to follow somebody when they're waving a carrot, right? And it's a carrot that you want, going in roughly a direction that you want, so you follow it. But if you know that you are doing this consciously, then you're not really being controlled now, are you? You're just following along somebody who might think that they are controlling you, but you have ideas of your own about that, right? And see, that's what you want, see? Because in all of life, you're always going to have people waving carrots at you, trying to get you to go in the direction that they want to go in. And see, a lot of times, you will want to go in that particular direction, even as somebody is waving a carrot in front of you. Don't fall into the trap of saying, oh, I am not going to go in that direction because there's this guy waving a carrot who wants me to go in that direction. No, that's immature and stupid and foolish. If it so happens that somebody's waving a carrot and trying to get you to go in a certain direction, and it's a direction you want to go in, go, It doesn't matter if the guy thinks that he's controlling you or manipulating you or some shit like that. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is that you are going in the direction that you want to go in. You see my point? Think of it in these terms. See, there are 100 different kinds of bread, right? Bread at the supermarket. In each of these different brands of bread, I don't know, Wonder or whatever the fuck, right? Pepperidge Farm, they all have their ads for that bread, right? And you pick bread number 56, for instance, right? And you go to the supermarket and you pick brand 56. And you saw a commercial for bread number 56. You saw a commercial or multiple commercials for all of the breads, right? And the advertising agency that handles account for bread number 56, they say, well, we did it, right? We got this customer to buy bread 56, right? Well, no, not really. It's that you decided that you wanted bread 56. And it just so happened that they were trying to cajole you into getting bread 56. But you picked it of your own volition. You see what I'm saying? And if the advertising agency wants to pretend that they actually had such a great campaign that it convinced you to buy bread 56, well, let them. Let them think whatever they want. You see what I'm trying to say here? Don't limit your choices just because other people are trying to get you to do something that you yourself want. This happens a lot with young people, okay? It happens a lot with young people because they are insecure about what they want. And so when they perceive that other people want them to take a particular course of action, many times they refrain from that course of action even though they want it, just because they are afraid of being perceived as being manipulated. Don't fall into that trap. Because it is a trap. It's the negative trap of following the carrot. You see what I'm saying? Because if you do follow the carrot thoughtlessly, well, then you are being manipulated. If you refrain from following the carrot, even though it's in a direction that you want to go, because you don't want to be perceived to be following the carrot, well, then it's, negative. It's the negative of the thing, but it's the same fucking thing. You are not free. And what you want is to be free. What you want is to do the things that you want to do on your timetable, with the people that you want, the people around you, what have you. The things that you want to do, irrespective of what anybody else is telling you to do or wanting you to do. You see what I'm saying? That is true freedom. And you can only achieve that by knowing who you are.